Welcome back. After a long, long hunt. A piece of paper is sticking out of your mailbox. It's a computer printout. A note and a screenshot from Google Maps. It reads, "Meet me at the indicated spot tomorrow at 10 p.m. I'll pick you up, and we'll take it from there." No signature, just the place marked on the map and the lookout point near Pier 1 next to Brooklyn Bridge. You check the phone that Mia passed on to you. No new messages, no missed calls. It's all a bit fishy, but there's only one way to find out who addressed this to you. Looks like tomorrow evening has been planned out for you. You go downstairs as soon as you wake up. One more glance at the phone, but no news from Mia. You take the car down to Brooklyn, park on Front Street, and approach the meeting spot cautiously. A figure of about Mia's size is standing there, dressed in an oversized jacket, looking out toward Manhattan. As you approach, you can hear her muttering something. "Is it true? I don't think it's true. I don't think it's true, then it can't be true, and it can't be true then." "Hey, are you the one that left the note at my apartment?" The woman turns around. It's not Mia. Whoever it is, you have never seen her before. She looks perfectly plain and unmemorable. "The ink and paper did the message leave. The ink on the paper did your face here bring." You turn around. 3 men, all of them burly, threatening, approach you. One of them takes the lead. "So, you got the message?" "Cut the crap. What's this about?" "We're taking a trip, friend. The boss wants to meet you." "Callahan?" "That's Boss Callahan to you, fuckface. I suggest we get a move on. You got places to be." The voice of the woman keeps creeping into your consciousness. The litany of gibberish ever present throughout this entire conversation. The man cracks his knuckles. "Or we can do it the hard way." "Yeah. Okay, I'll go with you." "Smart." They lead you down the pier and onto a motorboat. The engine starts. "Put this on." He points to a cloth sack. One of the guys is holding you down. The woman is still there, whispering to herself somehow. You hear her voice clearly in your head. It becomes a nagging suggestion to put the sack over your head. You don't really want to do it, but your hands go through the motions all the same. It takes 15 or so minutes to reach your destination, you think. The engine dies down, and you are led onshore, and then further, up an incline and through some overgrowth. 10 more minutes of walking, maybe, until a deep voice reaches your ears. "Vincent, my dear boy, why the hood over our guest's face?" "Well, boss," I thought. No, I will not do. How many times do I have to tell you to be myself, Vincent? We don't have to think. We have to listen. Do what you're told, yes?" "Yeah, boss." "Well, take that ridiculous sack off their head, will you?" The hood comes off. The owner of the deep voice is a curious sight, dressed in what you can only describe as a Victorian clothing, with a monocle and graying red hair. "Is this Callahan?" Apologies for Vincent's unacceptable behavior. He can be a little thick sometimes. Isn't it right, Vincent? Yeah, boss, sometimes a little. I believe you already know who I am. You're Boss Callahan. Right you are. I'm guessing you know my role in this city. I represent the Anarch movement. While I'm not quite sure what you represent. I have invited you here to find out. Now, let me make myself perfectly clear. I am disappointed in you. Truly disappointed. But I arranged this meeting to allow you to make amends. First, though, I have to make sure you understand what your infraction was. Do you know why you're here? I can't help but feel like you're dying to tell me. Don't get smart with me. He takes your face in his hands, while Vince holds you in a tight grip. He squeezes hard and looks you deep in the eyes. Talk is the reason you're here. With that little angry strumpet of his, I'm told, yes, Mia. Ugh. I'd love to get my hands on her gaunt neck and wring it until it breaks. But see, I am a statesman, and that is not the prudent thing to do. No, indeed, prudent thing to do is tolerate both her and that blasted ebony-skinned mentor of hers. Look at what the world has become these nights. Here I am, lambasting a black man and a woman in front of a whelp of Asian descent. My papa, rest his soul, would not believe it. Finish with your disgusting rant. Oh, fledgling, you have no idea who you're messing with. He looks at you with rage in his eyes, and you feel insignificant and vulnerable. An irrational fear takes over you. You cannot speak up against this man again. You just can't. He's too terrifying. Now that I have your full attention, I will request something from you, and you will obey me to the letter. But that comes later. First, we will answer a few questions. First of which is who pointed you to Mia? Nobody. It was my idea. Oh, really? And what is your intention behind the meeting? I wanted to contact Torque. Had to go through Mia. Ah, yes. The so-called veteran loves to use petite girls to hide behind, I hear. That would check out. What did you end up discussing? I just wanted to learn about the Anarchs. So I asked her about the movement. Oh, child, you should have come to me then. I am the Anarch movement in New York City, and nobody makes a secret out of it. You bet on the wrong horse, and I'm sure you'll soon learn. See, that wasn't hard now, was it? Of course, I can't be sure how much of what you told me was true, and how much of it was worth about as much as yesterday's horse shit. But I'll find out. I always do. And when I do, we'll have another one of these nice talks, and maybe, just maybe, you'll avoid this upcoming unpleasant episode next time. He gives Vince a sign, and the burly man starts hitting you all over. You feel teeth, ribs, and fingers break. Your foot is mangled under Vince's boot, your shoulder dislocated, your nose wrecked. That's enough, Vincent. Leave them be. He snaps his fingers in front of your face a few times and checks if you can focus on his face. You can, but barely. I am a man of principle. Another night, I would perhaps put you in a casket, dip it in concrete, and dump it in the Hudson. A favorite of mine during the Roaring '20s. It's been a while. But like I mentioned before, I am nothing but prudent, and so the interests of this kindred must come before my own needs and wants. I will therefore let you continue your existence. Here's what I require in return for this boon. You are forbidden to meet talk. I will keep an eye on you, on him. You want a place with the Anarchs? You go through me and only me. Got it? You have to understand, what I made my associates do to you tonight was just business. We can still work out a mutually beneficial relationship. In fact, it's either that or your final death. Time to go, Vincent. Take the boat back. Leave the fledgling here. I think they may have a lot to think about. Sure thing, boss. Pleasure making your acquaintance. Callahan walks away, as do Vince and his band of thugs. You lie on the ground for a while longer, feeling the blood slowly putting your body back together. Your hunger growing. You can hear the beast calling for sustenance, for safety, for revenge, a distance, but pronounce their desire. It's not until you mend yourself enough to appear more as a mugging victim than an impossibly mangled walking cadaver that you hail a passing taxi passing and heading back to your haven. The whole way there, you're tempted by the beast. Your driver, a 30-something with a strong Slavic accent and an unpronounceable name on his ID, keeps asking if he should drive you to the hospital. You keep declining, all the while thinking that if you could only ask him to pull over for 5 minutes, you could feast on his warm blood to the beast's content, drink him whole. Nobody would know. Nobody but his wife and kids, if he had them. Nobody but his boss and coworkers. Nobody but you. As you look in the mirror tomorrow. Keeping your hunger at bay was never before as difficult as it is tonight. The driver stops at your apartment building. There is nobody around. You can do it. Do it. Now. Now. You pay the driver and walk out. Fast. Leave the car behind. Don't look back. Look back. Walk back. Feed. No, through the door. Up the stairs. Key in the lock. Open the walk in. Lock yourself in. The 4 familiar walls of your haven are a blessing. The beast inside you keeps nagging, but you kept it at bay tonight. Not a small feat, given your state. You are still weak. You're still not quite mended. You need to rest. Tomorrow, you will have to feed again. Tomorrow, you will have to consider your next move. Callahan is not the kind of man who quits, but tonight, you rest. Waking up tonight feels different for 2 reasons. For one, you're pleasantly surprised that your body mended reasonably well while you were resting. It comes with a caveat, though. The hunger you feel is pronounced. The beast is like a black dog on the edge of your vision, following you. But what is truly remarkable is waking up to the tune of an old cell phone ringtone. Old unknown numbers. Calling the phone you got from Mia. You pick up. Kept that old thing charged after all, huh? You alright? No, actually, I feel like shit. Look, this is too bad. I don't really care. You're just being polite. Calling with good news. Torque has agreed to meet you. There's a pub in the Bronx, Solids and Stripes. Be there tonight. 2 things. No drinking on the premises, so if you want to grab a snack, do it before setting foot on the borough. And this is an exclusively no powers meeting. We'll be rubbing shoulders with commoners the whole evening. And also, we don't trust you, so keep it casual. You'll blow it. Anything you'd like to add? Yeah. I met Callahan yesterday. He kicked my ass. Forbade me from meeting Torque. I'm not sure I should be there tonight. Silence on the line. Fuck. More silence. I can't promise you any protection on your way there or back. But the pub you'll be in is Torque's domain. For all his posturing, Callahan doesn't have the balls to strike Torque directly. We'll post additional lookouts on watch. That's the best I can do. Callahan got under your skin, I get it. I was in that spot once or twice too. All I've got to say is, risk is worth it. You don't show tonight, I won't blame you. But it's a one-time offer only. Gotta hedge your bets. Just don't do anything stupid. You meet with us tonight, better be in good faith. She ends the call. First things first, you take the subway to York Street Station, walk to Front Street, retrieve your car, and weigh your options while driving back to your haven. You've been doing this for a good few nights. You're getting a feel for it. You're learning what kind of predator you are, and what kind of blood you crave. You're so caught up in yesterday's problems and this cloak and dagger debacle. You're not part of, that the hunt feels almost automatic and casual tonight. A fragment of you surrenders control. Just minutes after you find your victim, coax them, drink from them, you find you've forgotten their face and how they were dressed. It only hits you once you look at yourself in the car's rearview mirror. This was wrong. You can't let this become the norm. You hurt somebody. A human being. You're a monster. You need to stay mindful of this. You're a monster, but unless you let yourself off the hook, you can hold on to your humanity and not let yourself slide down this spiral. Instead of clearing your mind, this clouded it further. You're still no closer to a decision. Dangerous or not, you have to make the trip to the Bronx and meet with Torque. No detours. Best just to get it over with. You take some basic precautions as you enter Torque's turf. You park a few streets over from where the pub is and walk toward it while keeping an eye out for anyone suspicious. That kindred, for the most part, look no different than regular people. Makes things complicated, of course. If you're being followed or watched, it's going to be hard to tell. You reach the pub, shoot a final glance around. There's nobody suspicious around as far as you can see, and open the door. The smell of cigarettes is overwhelming. The whole place is an aura around it, about it. A constant fog hanging right under the ceiling. The lethargic fans do nothing to disperse it. The constant crack of billiard balls and clinking of glasses tells you all you need to know about the clientele. Not a very vampiric place at all. You're wondering if you got the address right. You apparently did. Mia's here. She motions you over to one of the few tables around. Took your sweet time to get here. What, you got cold feet? Never mind. Anyone follow you? Weren't you supposed to place lookouts to verify that? We did. Got word you coming in a few minutes ago. Just checking if you paid attention. Before I introduce you, there's some outstanding business to discuss. I appreciate the help with getting the name out of Bruce. It's going to be a tough nut to crack. His master. She's one of lawmen. Times where they'd soon align with us. The Chem. Anyway, this is the night for a history lesson. Torque's been waiting for you. He's been impressed by your work so far. Here's your chance to shine. Don't blow it. You walk towards one of the tables. A guy in a coat hat leans over to take a shot. He's way ahead of his opponent. The table is clear of his balls, save for the 8-ball in a tricky position. Hey, they're here. Be with you in just a moment. The hit is fast, precise, and sends the black ball exactly where its player wanted it. His opponent lets out a frustrated sigh. That's that. I believe that's 150 American dollars, Joey. You want to pay up now or up the stakes again? The disgruntled man accepts his defeat and pays up, then declares he's going to grab another beer. And to the victors go the spoils. Thank you kindly. He turns his full attention to you. The man is looking good. The man is good looking, if somewhat gaunt and intense. His eyes especially seem to pierce right through to your core, but not in an unpleasant way. Name's Torque. I believe you're Merrick, Sophie Langley's new plaything. That right? Plaything? No, we're not lovers. Huh. Apologies then, with her, that's kind of the default I hear. I did hear about your curious partnership, though. Forgive me for being real with you right off the bat, but I'd like to know who it is I'm dealing with, so here's something that I've been scratching my head about. If you're with Langley, and Langley's Cam through and through, I'm told, what is it you've come to accomplish here tonight? I might be part of the Cam, but I came here to learn more about the movement. I met a few of yours and they made a terrible first impression, but you and Mia, you seem different. Ain't that right? It's 'cause we are. I'm not one to brag, but I gotta say, us anarchs have a bad reputation in New York for a good reason. Starts with a B and a C, rhymes with Dross Boogeyman. But that's not the whole story, is it? Come on. Come clean with me. Sophie Langley wants to meet you. Don't ask why. She didn't tell me. She just said it had something to do with gathering allies against Boss Callahan. I'm here to arrange that meeting. The fuck? I knew nothing about this tea. They lied to me. Mia's furious. She's looking at the pool cue and at you, as if she was figuring out the best combination for the two. There it is. Give them a break, Mia. It's not so easy to say that kind of thing to my face, I imagine. Well, well, well. Ain't that an interesting proposition? You can't seriously be thinking about meeting with Langley. She's hardline Cam. It's a trap, it must be. It just might be. It just might be. He looks at you, pierces with his unnaturally keen eyes. He's about to say something when the door opens at the back of the room. Hey, Torque. You, got a guest there in the back. Mia, won't you be a dear and help our new friend company? I'll see what the commotion is. Sure thing. Torque tips his hat to you and walks to the back, joining the man who called for him. Mia glowers at you, this time weighing one of the pool balls in her hand. She looks like she's half a mind to chuck it at your face. You gotta be quite happy with yourself, bluffing your way into here. It might have started out as a task for Sophie, but I'm glad I could meet you and Torque. Don't hold it against me. No, I'm totally going to hold it against you, and for a while. You made me look like a chump in front of Torque. Here I was beginning to think you might make a good addition to our little family. There's a whole lot of trust you'll have to regain before that happens now. Torque appears from a door at the back and calls across the room. Yo, Mia, can I grab you for a second? Merrick, get over here too. You go to the back room. It's basically a storage area with a single wooden desk. It's pretty cramped, especially considering there's 5 other people in there with you. Torque ushers you in and closes the door behind you and Mia. 2 burly dudes are holding somebody down. A familiar face reaches your ears. Motherfucker, you gonna pay for this. You hear me? The boss is going to fuck you up so bad you have no idea. Have you had the doubtful pleasure of meeting Mrs. Cerruti before, Merrick? I have a score to settle with this fucker. You're fucked. You're so fucked you don't even know it. You stupid piece of shit. Should have ended you yesterday. The boss told you to stay away. You should have listened. That's a story and a half, ain't it? Vince, calm down and tell me how many of your guys are still out there on my turf, Go fuck yourself. You're done. The boss will know the stupid piece of shit fledgling came here. He knows they're with Langley. You know what that means, Torque. No, I don't. What does it mean, Vince? Now the boss can wipe you out. I'll just say you're sucking Langley's tits and all these buddies of yours. Gone. You're done, Torque. Well, now, if that's the case, I guess ridding New York City of you today, of your toady ass, won't make things any worse, will it? Actually, there's an idea. Vince mentioned that he beat you up yesterday. I hear that right, Merrick? You want to repay the favor? Gladly. Go right ahead. You hit Vince. Once. Twice. He's chuckling in the beginning, but you focus your blood for some extra oomph and keep hitting him. Again. More. Until he stops laughing. He's bruised, battered, and broken. The 2 Anarch dudes let you go off on him, and you kick him some more while he's on the floor. You only stop when you hear Torque's voice. Enough's enough, Merrick. He takes an old pool cue and breaks it over his knee. Stake him and take him downstairs. Let's keep Callahan guessing about what happened to his favorite puppy. Mia takes the sharp piece of wood and jams it into Vince's chest. His features grow slack, his entire body inert. He doesn't even give out a yelp. The other two anarchs take him out of the room. As entertaining as that was, I think Vince, in his unmatched wisdom, shared more than Callahan would hope for. This changes things. Ever heard about Operation Lights Out, Merrick? It was a second Inquisition effort here in New York City. A single night of raids at a magnitude never seen before, or since. The Ivory Tower got away with just a few losses here and there. No major players were hit. They managed to find safe spots, stay out of the eye of the shitstorm. Us, though, we got hit hard, all over town. Havens were rooted out. Entire coteries and safe houses gone. Just like that. Nobody saw it coming. I barely got out in one piece. Mia looks at him with concern, puts a hand on his arm. He shrugs it off, gently, but surely. Others, like my child Bob, or Mia's sire, extinguished. But you know who got out without a scratch? Callahan. We've thought about it for the past few years. How is it that Big B managed to excuse himself from the Staten Island Museum? We used to be where we used to meet just before vans full of guys in body armor showed up. How is it that as my baby is burning up after being shot with incendiary rounds, I also see Doug Callahan running with his tail between his legs, pushing fledglings like you in the path of the SI. We think the bastard knew what was coming, and he set us up. Not just us. Some of our brothers and sisters who got hit had some of the lowest profiles in the city's lick population. Moral of the story, Callahan is an opportunistic motherfucker. And if even his thickest followers suggest he's going to sell me out, then that's what he's going to do, as sure as the sun rises. He pauses for a moment, and you see him reach a decision. You said something about Langley having an offer for me. It might make you your fault in part that I'm at this juncture. But now is going to be as good a time as any to listen to what she has to say. I don't think that that's wise, T. Well, what would you have me do then? You said it yourself. It's all this fledgling's fault. They brought this on us. So let's use them as a bargaining chip. Callahan wants them. Langley needs them. They're valuable. No, you're wrong. I'm just a pawn. That's why Sophie sent me. Plausible deniability and all that. I'm expendable. The realization that you summarized the entirety of the last 2 weeks of you or so hit you hard. But if there was a moment to be honest with yourself, it's now. Fuck! The man puts his hand on Mia's shoulder. She calms down a bit. We're afraid, Merrick. But then, what else is new? It's a paradox, being who we are. The hunter one night, the hunted another. Masters of the night, slaves to dawn, a duality to everything. Mia, I understand your concern, but I need you to trust me like you did before. This is my call and my responsibility. You can give me shit about it later, but I'm sure you count on it. He smiles and takes on a no bullshit look and points at you. 3 conditions. First, you come pick me up personally and bring me to the meeting spot. Anything goes sideways is your ass. Second, Mia's coming with me. No two ways about it. 8 eyeballs in the meeting. 2 of you, 2 of us. Nobody else. And the third meeting is in public, downtown, some spot frequented by mortals. We see you take us anywhere fishy, we check out, fuck you up as a message to Langley. I count on it not coming to that, though. You seem likable enough. The cam hasn't gotten its talents in you yet. Keep it up, and maybe you'll come to the same conclusion we did in your own time. I might. If there even is an anarch movement in the city after the Camarilla gets its way. Don't you worry none. The Cam only seems like a stable monolith. Just wait until they get bored of Panhard's rules. Let me tell you, nothing quite as frantic and amusing as well-dressed rats scurrying over one another to call themselves the Prince of the Pile, if even for a moment. Best be on your way. Ask for me here when you need me. The bartender knows how to get in touch. Just ask him to put the owner on the line. Mia walks you to the door and accompanies you to the car. Listen, about what I said before. Yeah, what about it? I panicked. That's all that was. It was unfair what I said. If anything, it's my fault. I'm angry with myself, and that makes me angry with you. Forget it. See ya. She starts walking back to the bar as you start the engine and head back to Sophie's apartment. Time to give Sophie the news. She welcomes you as openly as ever, clearly excited to see you and for what news you might bring. Good evening, Merrick. How is your task going? You have something for me, perhaps. I did what you asked. The meeting is set up. I suggest we will take advantage of it quickly, though there's going to be trouble. Trouble? What trouble? Boss Callahan's goons grabbed me yesterday and forced me to meet with him. He's very clear that I cannot be seen talking to Torque, or he'll have me killed. I went and did it anyway. I appreciate your dedication. I really do. I'm sorry if you got hurt. Thank you for following through. Well, let's hear it. What did Torque agree to? You relay the Anarch leader's conditions. You are to pick him and Mia up. The meeting should only include the 4 of you, and it should be held in a public space. Those are all fair enough, although I do worry about that Mia character. Tell me, do you think she's trustworthy? Well, Torque trusts her, so we can too, I think. Very well. As for the place, I wonder if they would agree to meet in Hudson Yards. The vessel. Plenty of tourists visit that place. But if we go there after midnight, she seems to have her mind made up. Yes, bring them tomorrow night. Look for me near the top level. Tomorrow? Already? I didn't think they were expecting me back so soon. Yes, tomorrow. For reasons that shall be made obvious when we talk. Pick them up at midnight and drive back to Midtown. That's the plan. I'll be waiting as long as it takes. Within reason. I'm counting on you, Merrick. The final puzzle piece is about to find its way to its destination. After that, we will all get our just reward. You, me, the Camarilla, even the anarchs. I could kiss you. Yes, you'd like that. You desire it. You must have caught it in your expression. She smiles. A figure of speech, darling. Or at least it is tonight. But a few nights from now, who knows? I am growing fond of you. And success whets my appetite for these kinds of things. The sexual tension in the room becomes unbearable until it suddenly disappears. Was this another one of Sophie's tricks, or an actual spark of arousal in both of your undead bodies? You certainly felt the blood flow through you for a short moment. The warmth in your groin takes you by surprise. You didn't think you could do that anymore. Or did you just imagine it? Use the rest of the night well, Merrick, and rest. We are but a day's sleep away from a shaking the city awake. The weather is cold and windy as you walk to Sophie's apartment. As a vampire, it doesn't matter anymore. You may have been saddled with eternal hunger, but at least you can ignore the wind chill. Just as you come to the door of Sophie's building, she storms out, murmuring into her phone. Yes, I know. Don't worry. Trust you to handle it. You've heard Sophie talk to her associates before. It's always the same. Generalities and vague suggestions. It makes you think she's involved in mysterious machinations. It doesn't tell you anything. Sophie is dressed to kill. There's nothing unusual in that. She likes to make an impression. A black car with tinted windows is waiting for her in front of the door. A chauffeur steps out of to open the car door for her. Sophie notices you. I'm glad you're in the neighborhood. If you could look around for me one more time, that would be wonderful. You told me you'd gotten rid of the reporter. Turns out he's still here, snooping around. Sophie is very good at communicating disappointment. She doesn't have to do much to make it clear that she's unhappy to have to return to this issue. I'll take care of it. After tonight, he won't trouble you anymore. Good. Don't disappoint me. The reporter talked his way into the building during the day. Once the doorman understood what was happening and threw himself out. He threw him out. He showed old pictures of me to my neighbors. It's very awkward, you understand. Sophie disappears into the car and the chauffeur closes the door behind her. You watch as the sleek vehicle disappears into Manhattan traffic. Just one anonymous car among many. Best sit down somewhere and devise a plan of action. You go to a nearby diner, settle into a booth, and order a coffee from the steely-eyed Latino waitress. As she brings you your cup, you describe Frank Doder to her, and to her on the off chance she's seen something. Just as she's about to answer, you happen to look outside. Something catches your eye. The diner is brightly lit, so you lean closer to the window to see the street through it. You got lucky. Frank is standing on the sidewalk on the other side of the street, looking at something on his phone. You slide out of the booth, throwing a few small bills on the table, mumbling something to the waitress. You step outside. For a reporter, Frank isn't terribly observant. You keep your distance, hiding behind people in cars, but he doesn't look around. It seems like he wants to find a private nook to inspect the photos he took tonight. Alley. He ducks in, and you follow. Oh my God, it's you. Please don't hurt me. Frank cradles his new camera in his arms, terrified of what you will do to him. Don't worry. Last time, you were stupid, but this time, you won't be. Right? Right. Please. Just tell me what you want. You're sneaking around with a camera. Again. Why? I'm a reporter. I report. That's just my job. Look, I don't want any trouble. I can see that you're serious. There's something to Sophie Langley. think you know what it is. You take a long, hard look at Frank Doherty. He's a tenacious man, but not brave. After the last time you met, you were sure he had been dealt with. Where did he find the courage to come here again? A woman like Sophie, there's always something. But is it really worth the pain? Look, I need a scoop. I need a story. I need something that says Frank Doherty's on top of things again. Nobody respects me. You know how that feels? I used to be someone. A promising young journalist. When you fuck up, there's no sympathy. People enjoy seeing you fall. I don't care about Sophie Langley. I care about Frank Doherty. I'm not asking for much, just one story that isn't about trying to get a shot of a celebrity's underwear. You almost believe it, but something about Frank feels off. You don't say anything at first. It's easy to dismiss Frank as a joke, a has-been. Yet there's something beneath his talk. Another story. A moment of silence is all you need for your presence to properly register in Frank's mind. He's too weak-willed to resist. Someone is leaning on you, Frank. Come clean. What? No, absolutely not. Frank's voice sounds shrill. You know you got it right in one guess. Sometimes I just need some extra money, that's all. Where does this extra money come from? There's a guy, he's paying me, that's all. But I can't talk about that. It doesn't feel like you can get anything more out of him. Or perhaps that's just something you tell yourself because you see the sweet, sweet blood moving under his skin. It's hard not to stare. Frank is not a beautiful man, but you've learned that any mortal's veins can be appreciated if you look at them long enough. Blood is the great equalizer. Young or old, rich or poor, they all serve as sustenance to you. You decide to give up on Frank. If you drink him dry, he won't come back again. You've grown to like Frank, despite everything. You want to make his last moments pleasant. Close your eyes. I'll make you feel good. Frank doesn't have time to react before you take him into your arms and gently bite down on his neck. The bliss of your bite overwhelms him, and he moans in helpless desire. It's difficult to say whether Frank realizes you're killing him. He struggles weakly. That could just be from the sensations your bite gives him. By the time life is rarely leaving his body, he can't do much more than lean on you. You've come to learn that all mortals taste a little different. The traces of their life showing in the blood in their veins. Their emotions push through, making each feeding different. It's a question of taste whether you prefer your prey scared or aroused. You drink your fill as Frank goes weak in your arms, falling down, his body lifeless. There was a richness to his blood that you appreciate. You've already learned that it's a mistake to judge the quality of blood based on the mortal's looks, and Frank certainly shows that to be true. There's a dumpster in the alley. Straining it a little, you haul Frank's body into it. You tear at his clothes and take his wallet to make it look like a mugging gone wrong. Not long ago, doing something like this would be inconceivable. Now it's just feeding. You wake up. This is not your haven. is a cramped space. You try to move your arms and find they are tied to your body. You can barely bend your legs. When you try to stretch your neck, you hit a cold ceiling. You can't quite believe it, but this is a coffin, or something close enough. It vibrates slightly, but you can't hear any sounds coming from outside. It's entirely dark. You focus and divert your blood to boost your physical prowess. The way you imagine it, you're going to Superman punch the lid off this thing. You kick it with all your strength, but only make a dent in it. Hey, it's a start. You keep kicking. With each kick, you make the dent bigger. You manage to make a small crack in the very bottom of the container. A bit of light and sound come in. The crackle of a radio, the hum of a car's engine, a nervous male voice.
Object is broken containment. Please advise.
A response you don't quite catch. The brakes of the car. An impact jostles your container about. Keep kicking. Keep wrestling out of your prison. The car door opens violently. You hear a gun being cocked. A panicked scream.
Operation Compromise. Engage blood banks. Engaging blank bodies.
Shots. A struggle. Silence. The lid comes off. What the? We found you.
Tell me we hit the jackpot.
Come on, get up. We gotta get going. Seeing their faces is surprising. Seeing their faces is surprising, even more so in these circumstances. However, you realize the immediate danger and follow your companions out of the car and down a street in North Bronx. The van has crashed into another car. A familiar face, that of Kaiser's ghoul, Jackie, stumbles out of the wrecked sedan and slinks away into the darkness before you can call after him. The three of you jog away toward the line of the trees and take shelter under some branches. Just as you hear a chopper approaching, its searchlight illuminates the wrecked van and moves towards you. Hide, now! You see Tamika literally go underground, melding with the earth beneath her feet as if she's being swallowed up. You look to D'Angelo, but he's not there. It must be his disappearing trick again. You're left alone with just seconds to make your move before the spotlight finds you. Seeing no better option, you find the nearest bush and dive right under it. It's probably not the best or smartest thing to do, but you have to trust your gut. The illumination passes only inches away from you, but it's just a pattern light on the ground. The trees block a good portion of it. It doesn't dwell on you. It doesn't seem like they've spotted you or any other of your companions. The helicopter flies on, its searchlight frantically moving through the vicinity as your companions once again appear in your proximity. Close call. We have to get out of here before the SI puts boots on the ground. Care to tell me what's going on? D'Angelo, fill them in while we walk. Follow me. The SI did a number on you. We haven't got raided and they took you for a ride upstate. They have a facility somewhere out of town. Not a place you'd want to be. The thing that surprised me the most, though, it was Kaiser who contacted us and let us know. Kaiser organized this. Why would he do that? Listen, kid. Whatever his reasoning, I'm sure he'll expect something in return, so keep it cool. I want to get out of this one in one piece the same way you do. Okay. Our ride is here. Stay low. The SI might still be around. Kaiser's familiar car stops nearby. and the back door opens. Your allies usher you inside and join you. Being inside this mobile fortress never felt like a relief. Until now.
A fledgling. Miss me.
Yeah, actually I kinda did.
Oh, that's sweet. I had to break it to you. I didn't take a sudden liking to you. I'm here on business. I'm Brand. You know a thing or two about that, wouldn't you, detective? You are here now only because I told your buddies that you were neck deep in shit. That van you were in, and a one-way ticket to Hartville, Pennsylvania. I broke you out as a favor. Now you owe me big.
How the hell did you know the Second Inquisition broke into my haven and took me away?
Is that a piss-poor attempt at an insult, fledgling? I've kept my eyes on you ever since that little job you did for me in Nolita. You know, and because I needed you for something else. I had to know your comings and goings. I had a good idea of why the SI hit you, Eric. Not that there are tons of good reasons for it. It might have been one of these, for instance.
The screens in Kaiser's car flicker, and each of them now shows a short looped clip. It's you, getting into a fight, beating, using one of your powers.
You haven't exactly been kept a low profile, fledgling. I get it, you're new to this, you didn't know better, yada yada yada. The fact is, the SI has tons of this stuff. Security camera footage, YouTube videos posted by onlookers, social media posts from victims, you name it. Like I said though, I don't think any one of those did you in. Slip-ups happen. Not to you though, right? I always wondered, how is it that you can drive a pompously luxurious limo around New York City and not get caught? What's your secret? Body doubles? Decoy cars?
Kaiser smiles, going from that anthropomorphic piranha look you saw a few times.
You do know who killed the cat, don't you, Mr. Finch?
D'Angelo freezes and scratches his face, looking fiercely at the other Nosferatu. You notice that his hands are shaking.
Well, do you? Stop shedding on the upholstery and answer. Or should I use your given name, too? Yeah, I know why the cat croaked. You would, wouldn't you?
You never seen D'Angelo serve anyone a death stare quite like the one he's shooting Kaiser right now.
As much as I enjoy tempering your over-inflated ego, we're nearing our destination, so I think I'll move on. The reason I need you walking and talking, Merrick, is to test a hypothesis of mine. For that, I need you to finish what you were tasked to do. So first things first. Here.
He hands you a phone. The number has already been dialed. You hear the tone. Somebody picks up. Who is this? You don't say anything. Hello?
Hello, Langley.
What do you want?
There's somebody here who wants to talk to you. They're just shy.
He shoots you a glance that doesn't leave much up to interpretation. Sophie, it's me. Merrick, are you okay? What are you doing with that creep?
Tisk, tisk, tisk. Temper, or I cut the line. The fledgling's throat. Come on, Merrick, spit it out.
Listen, I got captured by the Second Inquisition. I'm fine now. Second Inquisition? That's what I feared. Listen, the plan. We need to do it tonight, but if the Inquisition is involved and you broke out, they'll be looking for you, so we can't meet in public. I have a place in mind, but Kaiser, are you still listening?
Would I tell you if I wasn't?
Merrick, call this number from where you visited before last we spoke. I'll come pick you up. She hangs up.
And that's that.
What is it that you've gotten yourself into?
You never did tell me what kind of work you did for Langley. Don't play coy, Aunt D'Angelo. You must have figured out at least some of it. Out. Don't worry. We'll have plenty of time to compare notes after we let our mutual acquaintance continue with their night. If my intel is worth a damn, your next stop, Merrick, is right about here.
The car comes to a stop, and the door opens. Outside, you see the street leading to Solid and Stripes, Torque's pool pub.
Well, do you need me to kick you out?
What about Tamika and D'Angelo?
What about them? They're staying right where they are. We're going to have a little chat. After we're done, I'm sure they'll find their way back to their havens just fine. The clock is ticking. I think I know what Sophie wants to do tonight, and if I'm right, tonight's the last chance you've got. If you want to say goodbye to your buddies before you go, that's fine by me. But that schedule of yours is pretty hectic, so you better do it now and scram.
You thank both your companions for their assistance. Without them, you wouldn't be here now. Kaiser makes a gagging gesture and urges you to step out of the car. You turn around and make your way back to the bar. The door closes behind you and Kaiser's limo starts moving again. You hope your companions won't have to pay too high of a price for helping you. The Solids and Stripes is pretty much abandoned tonight, with only the bartender and one bleary-eyed local watching an old Bogart movie on the bar screen. You ask to use the phone and call Sophie first. Yes? I'm here. Are you on your way? Yes, we'll be there in about 15 minutes. Notify Torque if he's not there. We need to talk soon and move quickly. She hangs up. You tell the bartender to notify Torque. Just like the Anarch leader mentioned you should. The man makes a short call. You only hear somebody picking up, but no words exchanged.
The owner's on his way right now. Can I get you anything while you're waiting?
Actually, do you serve the, special stuff? The bartender raises an eyebrow.
Special reserve, you mean? Oh, sorry, I only serve that to a narrow selection of the owner's friends.
Well, I am one of his friends.
Nah, it's a list. You're not on the list. I know because it hasn't changed for a while now. Sorry. Everything else on the bar is up for grabs, though. Sure you don't want something?
You shake your head. Torque comes in some 10 minutes later, without Mia. He tips his hat to you, puts a hand on the bleary-eyed patron's shoulder, and says something to him under his breath. They both laugh.
Marty, how's the night going? Quiet, sir. Just how you like it, huh? Well, Merrick, I believe you wanted me to meet it here for a reason. Let's hear it.
You're about to tell him what brought you here, when the doors to the bar open and Sophie walks in, all splendor and charisma. The patron's eyes are now glued to her, and so are the bartender's. Torque isn't happy with the sight.
Well, this isn't what we agreed on, Eric. Care to explain?
Things got complicated. We had to improvise. Pleasure to meet your acquaintance. I believe Merrick already told you why I'm here.
Not in any detail. And the circumstances of our meeting were supposed to be different, so, Miss Langley, tell me why I shouldn't ask you to leave and kick out your protege while I'm at it.
You will like what I have to say.
Yeah, I've heard that line 100 times, but 99 out of those ended up with somebody getting hurt, and that's not something I'm in the mood for tonight.
We are wasting time. There is a unique opportunity we should take advantage of. We only have an hour or so to discuss it before it will be time to act. My driver is waiting outside.
Wait a goddamn minute. First of all, I'm not going anywhere without Mia. That was the deal. Second, it's Merrick who was supposed to do the driving, not your servant.
Both served me, so really it's of little difference. Circumstances changed and we had to adapt. Don't be stubborn. Foolishness does not suit you. I have a secure spot in mind where we can talk.
I'll stop you right there. Torque is seething,
but he's keeping his lid on his anger. His voice barely changes.
My conditions were clear. The way I hear it, you want to break each of one of them. I see no reason at all to agree to any of this. I believe I will be staying put tonight. You have places to be, yes.
Torque, you're throwing away the only chance you have to challenge Callahan. Don't be a fool.
The lid comes off. Call me a fool one more time, woman, and that's not the only thing I'm gonna be throwing.
Torque, listen to Sophie. You can't miss this opportunity. Callahan has to be stopped.
I did not ask your opinion, fledgling.
If death stares could actually kill, he'd be decapitated by his. Sophie smiles. It isn't that just typical. You're all for democracy and the rule of the many, but only as long as they vote your way. Dissenting voices are silenced. You're no better than Callahan.
Fuck this.
Torch gets a bottle off the counter and breaks it over the bar. With a jagged piece of glass in his hand, he points at Sophie.
You two have precisely until the count of 5 to get out of here before I cut you up into little pieces. 1.
You wouldn't dare.
Try me. 2.
Shots break the front windows, and a flashbang goes off in the room, changing the bar into a space of white light and ringing noise. You feel somebody tugging at your back and are thrown behind the bar. More shots ring out, bottles break, and the TV shatters into pieces. The wooden bar splinters. Your sight comes back, but you think you've gone deaf. Because suddenly the room is silent. You see Torque beside you, and Marty, the bartender, bleeding out on the floor. You look over the bar. Sophie is standing there, her dress partially tattered. A visible hole is in her leg. She is like the heart of a supernova, entrancing, unavoidable, beautiful and terrifying. In front of her are 8 operatives, looking like a private military force, just standing there, paralyzed by Sophie's magnificence. Torque, you still there?
Yeah.
Would you kindly show your guests some hospitality?
Sure thing.
The Anarch is gone in the blink of an eye, and he reappears next to one of the soldiers. The armor-clad operative's head disappears in a puff of blood and bone. The same thing happens to the second. The third. You hear the radios go off on the soldiers' shoulders, a panicked voice pleading them to wake up. The 4th head pops. The 5th. You finally realize what's happening, but it's too late. The 6th man is beheaded by what you now see is just Torque's bare-fisted punch. Torque stops by the 7th man, rips something off of his neck, and bites down. Sophie walks over the last man and has him kneel in front of her before biting as well. On your right, a man in full body armor emerges from the back door, raising his assault rifle.
What the fuck? Hey, over here.
The man turns, and for a scary split second, you are looking directly down the barrel of an automatic rifle. The next moment, an impact throws him all the way into the back room, and he crashes into the wall. Torque grins at you, standing in the exact same spot where the soldier was just a second before.
You comfy down there, Langley?
Sophie wipes her mouth of blood and looks at him.
That meeting's still an item.
Yes.
I'll take it.
Splendid. Torque walks behind the bar and checks on the bartender. You see the Anarch open his own wrist and feed blood to the wounded man.
Drink up, Marty. It'll make you feel better. Get the hell out of here and wait for Mia. She's coming. She'll know what to do.
Torque.
Yeah, coming. Take the back door, Eric. Come on.
You slink back into an alley behind the bar, leaving 10 bodies and one grievously wounded ghoul behind. Nobody stops you from circling around the block and finding your way to Sophie's car. Gregory drives away casually, as if this was just another late-night drive. And now the crowning of a desperate, complicated evening. Sophie brings you all to a luxurious apartment in Manhattan's Upper West Side. The way she explains it, the vampire who owned it left the city a few years ago and gave away spare keys to a few trusting compatriots. It's been used sporadically since.
Fancy.
You like it? I always felt too modern for my tastes, but what's important is that it's secure.
As long as nobody followed you here, or the fledgling, trouble follows this one wherever they go.
Even if that's the case, we have very little time to conduct our business here anyway. We'll be leaving soon, I hope. So let's begin.
This better be worth all the trouble. Dealing with Kaiser, then with Mia, getting picked up by...
I assure you it will. You realize that if you finished the sentence, Torque would probably tear you a new one. Literally, most likely. I have it on good authority that Boss Callahan is bloodbound to Prince Panhard. Torque sucks air in loudly.
That's an accusation and a half, Langley. Got proof?
No, but we're just a boat ride away from getting it.
What's that supposed to mean?
Merrick, the address that I procured from Kaiser was the meeting spot for Panhard's and the Baron's regular sharing of blood and other bodily fluids. The rumors are true.
Wait, Kaiser knew about this?
Is there anything that insufferable clump of dead skin doesn't know in the city? He knows things, but only shares them if you pay. Neither the prince nor Callahan can touch him. He's too useful. Kaiser said something about having plans for me, that he wanted me to make this meeting happen. That can't be good, right? That's an interesting point. I think Kaiser might be as interested in shaking up the status quo as we are. Chaotic landscape makes for a great market for him, unlike a static one.
I don't like playing into that creep's hands, but at least now I know that I'm doing it. The devil you know and all that. What was the address he gave you?
They meet regularly on Ellis Island. In fact, their next scheduled meeting starts in just around a half an hour.
Hot damn, I guess you want to crash that meeting. Why?
So you can see the proof for yourself. So that I can make sure, too. And so that I have an extra pair of eyes for Panhard to consider when I present her my ultimatum. The prince must abandon her seat and leave New York City. She can go wherever she pleases, but if she stays, the entire court will know, and the next prince might not look favorably on her past. Dealing with anarchs, especially so closely, is a punishable offense in the Camarilla, as I'm sure you've heard.
So I did.
Torque strokes his beard and looks intently at Sophie.
What exactly you trying to accomplish here? Say you remove Panhard and I even remove Callahan. Then what?
Torque, did you ever wonder why Callahan is keeping you in check? Because I wondered why the prince condemns anarchs during her visit to Elysium, but doesn't allow the ivory tower to challenge you. See, she, or they, have engineered this status quo not for the good of the sex, but for private gain. They keep us all in line, because it lets them hold onto power that much longer.
And your goal is what? Make this Cold War turn hot. Not a great plan. You Cammies will get butts kicked out of New York City in no time.
If you anarchs manage to organize, which I doubt you will, at any rate, is a risk I'm willing to take. I don't stand alone in this. This entire operation has been years in the making. Torque, I am offering you a chance to square things with Callahan and level the playing field. If we get rid of these two, we can start on equal footing at the next stage of this dance macabre. Sophie, why am I here? I understand you need me to set this meeting up, but why am I listening to all this? It's a precaution. In a way, it's a shame that Mia told me about... This Mia you told me about did not make it to listen to this too.
I can still call her, but it'll probably be an hour before she gets here.
We can't wait that long. You will have to survive, Smerek. I am risking the prince or even Callahan's wrath. Well, I don't think they would dare to lay a finger on me. Another set of eyes to watch over this meeting can't hurt. And I did promise I would expect everything in time, didn't I?
You know, after all those years spent in Callahan's shadow and taking part in all that kindred dick measuring contest, I should expect a ruse. Some ploy to kill me in an out-of-the-way place. That's our inherent paranoia talking. My gut tells me it's time to get this show started. I do hope you have a boat nearby, Langley.
Sophie smiles mischievously. Of course I do. It's waiting for us by the pier.
Lead the way then. Moonlight's burning.
The three of you leave the apartment and walk towards the pier. Nobody seems to be following you. You get on a small patrol boat and double time it through the Hudson's cold, dark waters. Out of all the places in New York City where the Prince and the Baron could meet, and it's Ellis Island, a landmark with a dark past, a museum on one hand, a dilapidated piece of history on the other. You leave the boat and make your way to the southern part of the island, paying no heed to the renovated tourist attractions on the northern side. You expected some resistance, a night guard, a helicopter pilot flying overhead, or maybe a New York City Police Department patrol boat. Nothing. The island seems completely deserted. It's clear this sets Sophie on edge. She's moving as quietly and as subtly as ever, but you can see that she's eager to reach the particular house her intel pointed out. Torque is following suit, grimly determined, flashing his piercing gaze all over, still clearly uncertain that this isn't some kind of con. Finally, you see it, light coming from a window in one of the buildings at the edge of the island. The three of you slowly creep closer to the building and take a look inside the window. There it is, Callahan kneeling in front of the prince, sucking on Panhard's wrist, both fully clothed. Small blessing. Torque makes his move, and before Sophie can stop him, he busts through the building's doors. It all happens very quickly. Torque grabs Callahan by the shoulders and throws him to the still open door. Callahan hits the ground hard. Torque appears on top of him, starts punching.
You fucker. You piece of shit.
Stop. Prince's voice takes hold just long enough to make Torque relent. When the Baron uses to the fullest, he shoves Torque off of him and tries to bite down. Prince, Call off your lapdog. Langley, what is the meaning of this? The two anarchs break apart, both wounded, but neither is quite done yet. They look at one another with pure hatred.
Kill the bitch, Helen, but leave the fledgling to me. Right after I deal with this shit stain, I'm gonna...
A shrill, unpleasant laugh fills the air. You know who it belongs to. So entertaining. Truly, it feels almost a shame to break up this spectacle, but alas. Thomas?
Who the fuck is this joker?
Ah, yes. I don't think we met, though I did hear a lot about you, Mr. Torque. My name is Thomas Arturo, and Callahan uses this moment of uncertainty to strike. He's still too slow for Torque, who throws the boss onto the lawn, where the two exchange blows once again.
Helen,
If you'd be so kind as to ask your friend to not hurt our guest too much. Callahan, don't kill him. This time, Callahan comes out on top and grabs Torque in an iron hold. Your companion struggles, but can't quite break away.
I will not be denied, Helen. Not this time.
You will do as I command. And she will do as I command, Douglas, old boy. What? Like I was saying before I was so rudely interrupted, I feel like I need to break up this little spectacle. It's been going on for far too long. You think you're so smart, Langley. You and your clique figured out that there was something fishy going on all your own. But you were always working with just a piece of the puzzle. Wasn't she, Merrick? Sophie looks to you, shocked and disappointed. This is not happening? Oh, I assure you, this is no fever dream. Though it might seem to you like a nightmare, to think that this all was put in motion by me chatting with your sire. Surreal, isn't it? You hear a scream and a curse, as Callahan, whose arm has been nearly ripped off his body, Torque breaks out of the Baron's grasp, but doesn't continue the attack. Instead, he's at the edge of the water, in the blink of an eye, and disappears into the Hudson. The only trace left of him is his fedora. Another actor going off script at the very end. No matter. Let him bring some amusement now the production is almost wrapped up. He'll reach his allies. He'll tell everyone of this. Helen, even if we naively assume his nights aren't numbered now that he's in the SI's sights, the show must go on one way or another. Won't hurt to encourage leaks and speculation. Sophie looks at you. How could you, Merrick? I saved you. Arturo suddenly appears next to her and slaps her in the face. Langley, Langley, Langley. What happened to your self-esteem? You can't really think a simple neonate has outplayed you. Or maybe this oblivious act is your way of groveling for mercy. Thomas, what? You thought that being an expert chess player would always be enough. You never realized the people at the top simply flip the chessboard over and punch you in the face whenever they don't like how the game is going. He motions to the remaining kindred. But the thing is, you weren't even adept at playing the game you knew. Merrick, just another pawn placed on the board by my associate. You thought they were your piece since you took them in. But who gave you that idea? You returned to the night where you were judged by Prince Panhard. The woman in red, Sophie. Somebody speaking to her. A man in glasses. The man standing before you now. This is cruel. We know what's going to happen. If only someone would speak to us, speak up for the poor child. They could be a useful tool for the Camarilla. Terror creeps over Sophie's face. Of course. Those are not the words you heard, were they? No. You were already grasping for some opportunity to further your scheme. I put the bait out and you took it, hook, line, and sinker. After that, it was only a matter of time before you started using Merrick as your errand boy. No one is quite as easy to track and monitor as a naive fledgling who's just learning the ropes. What is it that you want, Thomas? What do I want? Oh boy, the answer is so simple but so hard to put into words. Unstable instability, cutting-edge tales of thrills and intrigue that push to the limit, and then return you to the tried and tested status quo, gently, infallibly. A system full of distractingly moving parts, which simulate conflicts so conceivingly that its users never feel a need to direct their energy towards upsetting the system. Achieving the eternal thought, the disposal, building a city that, like the ship of Theseus, constantly changing its parts, yet always maintaining the same purpose, serving some of the same goals at all times. A large-scale infrastructure that has something like an exhaust system from the spirit. Something that, disperses the toxicity around instead of concentrating it into a single place. None of what you're saying makes the slightest bit of sense. Arturo's momentarily stopped in his tracks. He stares into the sky for a few seconds before a sad grin appears on his face. Spoken like someone who's never really had what it takes to make it to the big leagues. With a theatrical snap of his fingers, he gives a last sentence and a sense of finality. Something changed in the air. You could swear you saw a shadow move behind Sophie. Goodbye, Sophie. A person appears behind Sophie. You can't believe your eyes. It's Adelaide Davis, holding garden shears in her hands. You take off and rush towards Sophie. You only take a few steps before a figure blinks right next to you and pushes you away. Turo. You hear the shears snip. Sophie's red hair conceals her face as her head falls, separated from her shoulders. Silence. Arturo's unpleasant laughter erupts right next to you. Oh, Merrick, your career is moving at a breakneck pace, moving up and up and up and up. Let me congratulate you on your promotion. Are you going to kill me too? That was the plan, at some point. But I've changed my heart since then. Helen, you're free to leave us and take the Baron with you. Thomas, I don't think you should. Shush, you're just being jealous. Adelaide, escort the prince and dear old Douglas, please. Sure thing, darling. You're left alone next to Sophie's body. You try not to look, but it's hard to ignore her lithe frame decomposing in front of your eyes. Congratulations, you've won this little game. You set out on a suicide mission and successfully brought down the power-hungry wannabe tyrant, even if it probably wasn't the way you imagined it. Now you're free to enjoy paradise again. Life after death, immortality, eternal youth. What they don't tell you is, of course, living in paradise is inherently sinful, where not everyone can partake. But you have time to learn how to live with sin, don't you? He takes a melancholic look at the city skyline surrounding him. The Statue of Liberty and the lights of Manhattan shimmering in the distance. You know, New York taught me to believe in fate. My unlife began right here, and it began with utter despair. My first instinct was to drown myself in books and keep reading and reading until literature gave me the piece of wisdom I needed to go on. Personally, I find reading a silly hobby in retrospect. I always had this minuscule hope that the next sentence I'd read could finally bring me salvation. but it never did. It only gave me fuel for this elevated, righteous intellectual suffering. But the more I read, the easier it was for me to boil every paragraph down to a power relationship. The characters' influence over each other, the writer trying to impress the reader, etc. The strings everyone pulls started to look like strands that weave into the fabric of fate. And once I saw its beauty, I got teary-eyed. My architect instincts kicked into overdrive. I didn't have to submit to fate. All I had to do was cooperate with it and wait for my time to shine. Give it my input whenever needed, until I trusted it to do until it trusted me to do more. Thomas steps over what's left of Sophie, wiping his glasses with an elegant cloth from his pocket. And it did. Fate did look after the city. Fate let me look after the city. With my architect's tools, I started quietly shaping the streets and corridors, while Kaiser and his ilk shaped the information flow. And among many tools this process gave me, one of them was a way to reliably come up with useful agents like you. The methods I used were crude at times, but the route was there. All you had to do was follow it. Some people write rulebook passages. The others plan city arteries. In the end, the effect is the same. Someone always follows. He puts on the glasses and gives you a long, hard look. You know, I have grown fond of you. You did so well. Even when that idiot Callahan tipped the Inquisition off, you still got out. I liked the idea. I liked the kind of resourcefulness. I could use that kind of resourcefulness. He uncovers his wrist. So, take my blood. Just enough so we can start off on the right foot. It's a sign of good faith. A sign that you're ready to play in the big leagues. Ready to behold the sights that are prepared for you. What do you say, Merrick? Ugh. Well, we still got. We still absolutely got. And that's how it went. So, okay. But we did it. Oh, wow. And my voice is shot. Oh. So it's been good. Have very much enjoyed the story and getting into the other nooks and crannies of this. But I think I'm ready to move on from Coteries of New York. There's Shadows of New York, which is a sequel that follows this up. We'll probably get to that this month. I think that's we'll do a playthrough sometime in this lovely Octoberness that we have. So we'll look forward to that. But I think we're done for tonight. I'm quite tired. But I appreciate everyone tuning in. Always a good time. Want to say thank you to everyone. And I hope you enjoy these I don't know, more theatrical, dramatic reading things that I do sometimes. I feel like it's not necessarily the best for chat engagement, which is fine. If you want to just like hang out and watch, listen, you know, that's part of what I'm trying to go for, honestly. Just trying to have a nice, relaxing story with some soundscapes and voice acting. So that's if that's what you're here for, you're here in the right spot. You're doing the thing. We love you. Thank you for being here. But yes, let me know if y'all don't. I don't know if you like this. If you don't like this, just let me know things. I appreciate hearing from y'all. So you know, if if you really want to get a hold of me, say hello in our Discord. We also are gonna have all of this stuff, and we have a bunch of other stuff up on YouTube. So if you missed anything, feel free to go check out stuff over there. And just, we got things. We got things. We hit affiliate last week, I believe. And that's really cool. Thank you everyone for helping me get there. I'm trying to figure out some level of something we're gonna do around that. But it's just a lot to get things together. But it's on my agenda for sure to like get stuff ready for all the new things I can do with affiliate status. So stay tuned for that kind of thing. And tomorrow we have some more fighting games. We're going to be starting at 8 o'clock tomorrow, 8 p.m. Pacific Daylight Time. A little bit later than our normal start. I think I might be trying to do some later starts for some of our streams. Just seems like people tend to tune in that time anyway. It gives me some more time to get ready. So we might just do that. But yeah, we're going to be starting a bit later tomorrow, and we'll probably go a bit later too. But yeah, we'll play some Melee, and we'll probably, switch to some Street Fighter at some point, I'm expecting. Maybe there's other fighting games I want to play, but anyway, I really appreciate everyone tuning in. And hope just having a good October, and I guess given how much backstabbing and blood sucking there's going on in these streets, just hope y'all stay safe out there.